All right, we are live. We are live. We are live. Welcome to the All Even Podcast. My name is Barry Grant Jr. I had my show last night. We didn't talk Mets because I wanted to really give time to be able to dissect this thing and talk to my big homie. What's up, Tom? How you doing, man?
What's going on? Doing pretty good. This is like probably the best way I could think to end a Friday is sitting with you talking about the Mets. I was looking forward to it all day.
You know, you're my guy when it comes to Mets talk. Like
Appreciate
I got other friends that we talk Mets and it's all cool, but like me and you get the Mets talking, man. It's like it's therapeutic. It's educational. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes on, and you tend to like bring me back down to earth. Like I'll go on some tirade and be like, all right, just let's take the overview here. Let's take the pan view and just relax.
Yeah, let's just it's the way. Look, we're Mets fans, so like we're very used to being really down in the dumps,
right,
and having to rationalize a lot of things,
right.
And I just turned 33 this past September, and I realized I usually judge my start of fandom around like 5.
Yeah.
So for a long time, I've been living with misery, and I've had to rationalize everything. So you just have to realize where we are now and where we've come from, and you can kind of talk yourself into anything.
Yeah,
you kind of have to. It's the only way that you can get excited for a season is by trying to come up with a way. I can't tell you how many times I got in arguments with my dad at the dinner table about Dad, Jason Bay's turning it around. I'm telling you, it's coming. I'm telling you, it's coming. It never happened, but it's that illusion that keeps you going.
Listen, that optimism is it's good. It's like you need to have somebody that can be able to say, all right, let's just relax here, just give it some time to be able to play out. While most of us are just like, no, we feel how we feel, and this is how we're gonna react. You know what I mean?
No, dude, I totally look. I've been there so many times. I've been. Steve Cohen really flipped my mind on a lot of this stuff because there were plenty of years in the Wilpon years where I was just like, I just think it's not getting any better. I think we're just going to have to deal with this for the rest of our lives. And, it got hard towards the end. But now that, obviously we've had Steve Cohen for this long, like it totally just hit the reset button. I am right back to I can rationalize damn near everything.
Yeah. 100%. Well, listen, there's a lot of stuff to go over, Tom. So let's just go into it. The first bit of news, obviously it was a couple of days ago, but Steve Cohen, he gets his bid for the casino, $8 billion, I believe, investment into the area and all that stuff. It's gonna have traffic insane over there, but it's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be nice. The influx of money that's gonna be, put into the team. They're already talking about that he's pretty much going to like double or triple his net worth from this thing here. So this is a big deal for Steve Cohen. It's a big deal for the Mets. And what are your thoughts about that? Like, a lot of people I see it's not split, but there is some detractors out there saying that this is bad. This is not a good thing. And, what are your thoughts when you initially heard it?
I'm not the biggest gambler. I like to gamble like a little bit, like here and there. So like the casino, it's really cool. I mean, like, and as far as the redevelopment of the area around Citi Field, I mean, I understand that people got their issues with gambling, got their issues with the casino being right next to Citi Field. It's going to cause a lot of traffic. I totally understand. But the one of the big things that I feel like is a problem is just when you would go to Shea Stadium, when you would go to Citi Field, it was nothing but chop shops and just nothing around.
Yeah.
Like, sure, you had a park nearby, you had the Queens Museum nearby, but like there's nothing to do around the stadium.
Yeah.
And
some sketchy ass blocks, like, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Like, so, and look, I'm in the Bronx a lot. I see Yankee Stadium. I know it looks like a mausoleum and all of that stuff. I got it. I'm not going to hate on the Yankees, but the thing that I will say is they got stuff to do outside.
Yeah.
And this isn't a Mets or Yankees thing. It's just me saying, like, stadium environment. Citi Field, to me, is the best stadium in the city, period. Mm-hmm. And I think redeveloping that whole area, making it more attractive for people to come, I think there's eventually going to be restaurants, having a couple bars, the casino, like having stuff to do, a nightlife, a life around Citi Field is only going to improve everything. It's going to, the only thing that makes me nervous is that apparently it's going to take up a lot of the parking at Citi Field, and we're going to be moved to parking garages.
Yeah, they're gonna have these 2 giant parking garages over there. Yeah,
that's the only thing that makes me nervous, because like as much like I like to take the train to the game, but like sometimes where it's just like, maybe I'll hop up, maybe I don't want to take the train, maybe I'm going to drive it. I have more people, they don't want to take the train, we want to drive. If parking garages to me at a Met game sounds like an absolute nightmare. It's hard enough to get out of the Citi Field parking lot.
I'm curious to see how they're going to be able to work that out. Right.
Yeah, but as far as the redevelopment of the area, it's been needed probably since Shea Stadium opened. You know what I mean? So I'm all for it.
I just think that it's just going to have more of a touristy feel, and there's going to be a lot of people that are just going to come in and out. It's going to be very, very good for the area. Obviously, people who live in that particular area, they might not feel that way, but it's gonna bring a lot of value to that area, and it's much needed. So it's really, like, in my opinion, it's really cool. And another part, just to be on the joking side, like, I've never gone to Resorts World over there in Rockaway Boulevard. I will never go over there because it's like risking your life. So I'm not I'm not going over there. But I will dabble a little bit in Steve Cohen's casino. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, hell yeah. It's going to be so nice.
Yeah.
This is going to be beautiful. I don't know if they do. I don't even know if they've announced it, because it's New York. So I don't know if they're allowed to do like real table games, or if it's all.
Maybe not. We got to see what it is. Yeah.
It can't be, because all digital I feel I've gone into one like all digital casino in my life. It's Jake's 58 out here on the island. Yeah. And it just I never went back because it just feels like they're stealing my money. Like I'm playing against the computer the whole time.
Oh,
they're stealing my money anyway, but
exactly.
I like the person there. I like
we're gonna have a good time, man. We'll figure it out. Like, what I mean? Even if we go there one time and just experience it, we're gonna.
We did it. Yeah, we did. Yeah. I just got to say I did it. I'll go home maybe with a little T-shirt or a napkin with the casino name on it, and I'm done. I did it.
That's it. Exactly. Hang it on the wall and call it a day. Call it a day.
Yeah.
So all right. So that's that. Devin Williams' press conference. It was a very short press conference, very matter of fact. 10 minutes. But there was one part of this press conference that really got my antennas up. And I don't know if you heard it. Mm-hmm. I can't remember who asked the question, but they asked him, the teams that he was talking to, was the closer role discussed with all of these teams? And Devin Williams had a very matter-of-fact answer. He said the closer role was discussed with all of these teams. And for me, it's like, okay, because if you're saying all, that includes the New York Mets.
Yeah.
So does that give you more of an inkling that Edwin Diaz is not returning? Or is it just one of those things where they tell him this just to be able to prepare him just in case Edwin Diaz does not return?
Oh, yeah. Well, I just think it's them. I think it's them just covering their bases. I think it's exactly what you said. Like, they're obvious. Like, look, Devin Williams, he didn't do it great with the Yankees last year, but historically he's been a really good closer, one of the better closers in baseball. So, like, you're going to have that conversation with him. You're going to say, look, we are trying to bring Diaz back, but if he doesn't come back, we're probably going to rely on you to be our closer. And are you okay with that? And I can't imagine that he would say no. Like, how do you shy away from that? So, I feel like it was a totally, because I heard the same thing, and I was like, wow. For a minute, I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy. But I don't know. I feel like the Mets are still going to do everything in their power to bring Diaz back, and they're just being careful. I think I heard. I think it ended up being fake, but Evan Roberts from FAN said that he initially said that the Diaz was going to get signed before the end of the day today. But he said he came out and said that it was a fake report. He's just kind of now wishful thinking.
It's a deep fake.
Thanks, Evan. But no,
exactly. Like,
so
I just don't do that to us. Though, like, we are an emotional fan base. Don't do that. Don't
get me excited. Yeah. But no, I think that's all it really was. It was like, listen, Devin, we're trying to bring back Diaz. I guess they're apart on 2 years. I think Edwin wants 5. They want to give him 3.
Split the baby, man. Give him 4.
Yeah, give him 4. I'm totally okay with that. And then if the last year of that contract stinks, you got 4 years to figure out who you're gonna replace him as the closer with.
Definitely. And I agree with you. And I think, and I'll just go ahead and go. Shouts my man Chef Mom over there. My brother, happy Friday. Y'all just getting here, got to catch up, you know. But yeah, definitely. We're here to talk about some Mets news. So I'm glad you in here, man. If you're still here, salutes to you, man. That's my guy. So the Devin Williams thing is interesting to me, right? It's more about, yes, you look at the baseline ERA, the 4.79 is alarming, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you look, like, his deep analytic numbers are right on cue, if not like best in his career in regards to what you see. So his expected ERA, I think, was like 2.97 or something like that. Like since June on, he was very, very lights out. He was a guy that when he got in the game, like, he didn't really give up any runs. But obviously, if you're drawing walks, guys are coming after you and then giving up the runs. Those are going to be a test to you, right? So that kind of ballooned his ERA as well. So, like, you know, outside of the first few months, man, I think he was pretty solid. And, you know, another year in New York, especially being somewhere where you already have a relationship with a David Stearns, right? Like, you know exactly what your potential is in a David Stearns run organization. I just think that he's just going to be a lot more comfortable because, listen, it's an adjustment period coming to New York. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care who the player is. Like, some players, they end up getting it right away. But there's a lot of guys, man, that it takes them time to be able to figure out, like, yo, this is no joke. Like, these fans are rabid. They're emotional. Like, they get very personal. So you have to try to, like, balance all of those things and still be able to perform at a high level. So I think, you know, another full year under his belt, I think he's gonna be fine. Like, when the deal came down, I had an instant reaction, like, I don't really like it. I still believe that if it's a move by itself, like an isolated move, I'm still like, yeah. But if it's attached to a Diaz, if it's attached to a Suarez, something like that, now it's like, all right, the back end of your bullpen is really legit. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm not really like opposed to the deal. I like Devin Williams, and I think that he can be able to succeed here.
Oh, totally. And I think I'm pretty sure we've still kind of seen it over the past few years is that relievers can be hit or miss year in, year out. You know what I mean? Just because, I mean, we're all talking about how good Edwin Diaz is and how he's the best closer in baseball. I would like everybody to think real hard back to when Diaz first got here.
Oh, my nightmare.
What was that conversation like?
Get him out of here.
That conversation was like, wow, Jared Kelenic is about to go be a beast for the Mariners, and we're going to have to live with the corpse of Robinson Cano and a bad closer. That's what we thought. And
you remember
now,
for months that Met fans were upset about Jared Kelenic.
Every time Diaz came into the game, at one point in time, I was like, okay, well, this is over. You know what I mean? He's blowing this save.
Yeah.
So so just because Devin Williams had a bad year, because he, like you're saying, he got better as the year went on.
Yeah.
In the Bronx, I just am not going to go ahead and believe that all of those years in Milwaukee are just going to be gone. Like that, just like that pitcher doesn't exist anymore. I'm not going to do that. So yeah, do I want Diaz back? Do I want another reliever back if Diaz doesn't come back? Yeah, sure. But I'm not naive to think at this point that David Stearns would be like, okay, if Diaz doesn't come back, he's going to say Devin Williams and my bullpen's done. There's no way. Like we saw last year, pitching was, the Mets had their little bit of woes with hitting and runners and scoring position and stuff like that. But the Mets' main issue was pitching. They had
pitching.
None.
Yep.
So David Stearns, I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying that he doesn't have his faults, but can't be dumb enough to not see that there was a pitching problem in Queens.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Like, so even if I look at the Devin Williams signing as awesome. You got a guy that's historically really good. That's a great piece. What's the next? If it's Diaz, amazing. If it's not Diaz, what's that next piece? And I'm going to ride with it.
Yeah. I'm the same. For me, it's a lot what you just said, but I want to go ahead and piggyback off of that and say that there's so much historical value that's attached to Diaz's next contract with the Mets, just because he's so close to having the all-time saves record, like 5 more years of 30 saves, right?
Yeah.
He's going to be the all-time Mets saves leader. that's important for a guy that the fans love. He's embraced New York. He's dominated here. Like, that's important to be able to have. It's like, yo, this is our guy. He was here. He spent the majority of his career here, and he dazzled and set all these records, and he deserves to have his place in the Mets Hall of Fame. Like, these are things, like, it's just like how people talk about Pete. We really have to start thinking about Edwin Diaz as well. Like, he embraced New York so much, and he's thrived here. Yep. I don't want to see him go away, because it wouldn't make sense for me. It's not like he's coming off a down year where his ERA is ballooned over 5, his velocity is down, and he couldn't get anybody out. Like, this guy won reliever of the year. So, this is, you can't, like, the Mets right now don't have really that much of a leg up in negotiations, in my opinion. Just off that fact. But the QO, of course, there's a lot of teams that are very nervous about that. They don't want to go ahead and sign a guy with a QO attached to him because it's a compensatory pick and all that other stuff. But, you got to bring Diaz back. You just have to. Oh, yeah. And it just fortifies your bullpen. It fortifies that back end. If you have a Devin Williams and a Diaz, like, that's the makings of a very, very good bullpen. And when you talk about Brooks Raley, you talk about AJ Minter, you talk about those guys, like, that's a really, really good foursome. And if you can be able to add a couple more pieces to that bullpen, like, now you're creating some magic here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally get it. And I honestly, until you just said it, I totally forgot that AJ Minter is going to be back next year. I'm really excited about that. But what I think what really made me just love Edwin Diaz was that what we just talked about before, where Edwin Diaz is one of those guys that came here with really high expectations and got skewered, like absolutely torn to pieces, and came through it and now wants to be here. Like, got through all, like, it's kind of like I guess Mets fans in a way can relate to him in a sense that, like, we've been beaten down as fans for all of these times, and we still come out on top in the end. Edwin Diaz got beat down when he first got here. We tore him to pieces, becomes the best closer in baseball, and wants to stay here and be a part of whatever the Mets are building here. Right. And that just makes me, I'm totally with you. Like, I feel like the Mets have to bring him back. I think the Mets are going to bring him back. And I do think Diaz has a little bit of power, but I think the fact that every day that a deal for 5 years doesn't get signed is just more advantage, just shifts more into the Mets corner. You know what I mean? Because Diaz wants 5 years. That's great. But it's December 5th. Obviously, the winter meetings, they haven't started yet. That's usually when things kind of start cooking. But we've seen signings happening already. Nobody's giving Diaz that 5th year right now. So, I mean, the Mets, I hope, are feeling pretty comfortable about it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Chef Mama says, I don't want to hear there isn't enough money to get Pete and Diaz and a big free agent. Cohen said he wants to bring a championship to New York in the next 5 years. He's got to spend to hold up his end of that statement. Look, I think everybody's in lockstep with that. I think, I think you have to, obviously you want to shake up the core, and we're going to go ahead and talk about that a little after as well. But these are pieces that you have to keep here, right? Like, you don't want to shake up your team so much to the point where it's unrecognizable. Like, you still need to have your base core guys and be able to fill in, with rollies and some ancillary players and, in the gaps and stuff like that. But, like, you got to keep these guys. So I think all signs point to both guys being back, and we're going to talk about Pete in a second as well. But yeah, I agree, Chef Mama. It's 100%. That's a basis of everything right there, getting those guys back. Let's go ahead. So I guess we'll discuss Pete's market as well. Like, obviously you said, the winter meetings are coming up and things kind of heat up during the winter meetings. But outside of, like, the Red Sox, there's some rumblings there. It's been really quiet in regards to Pete Alonso, right?
Yeah. I mean, I got nervous for Pete himself when I saw a tweet. I think it was either by SNY or it might have been by John Heyman, where it said that Pete's waiting for that team to go above and beyond. I'm paraphrasing, but to go above and beyond to try to get him. And it just brought me back to last year. I'm like, wow, Pete's hitting the market, and that market just isn't there. That's why I'm still not too afraid of Pete leaving, because it's like, sure, Pete is an amazing home run hitter.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great power hitter. I think personally, watching him every day, I think his defense gets disrespected a little bit. I'm not saying that he's Keith Hernandez. I'm not saying that he's one of the. I'm not saying he's a one or multiple Gold Glove caliber first baseman, but I'm saying that I think his defense is serviceable enough that you can put him there. He's reliable, plays every day, and he can hit. But evidently, a lot more teams are worried, probably worried about that defense, probably worried about the whole run prevention thing, and that like 6, 7, even 5-year deal that he's looking for might not materialize.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think just what you said in regards to the defense is scaring off a lot of teams, because if they're looking at him just as a full-time DH, what is the price tag for a full-time DH in this market, right? Like, is it in the 30s? Is it somewhere mid-20s? Like, what are we talking about here? So that's the thing, is that, yeah, he made $30 million last season. Yeah, he had the opt-out and all that other stuff. But, like, if the teams are looking at him projecting out as a DH, they're going to want to pay him as such.
Yeah.
Right? That's the whole point. And if he's looking for AAV as well as the years, he may have to choose one or the other. He might not get both. You know what I mean?
Well, and yeah, no, I totally get you. And the thing that kind of I think about all the time is, like, everybody's talking about Kyle Schwarber getting a lot of money.
Yeah.
To be a full-time DH. And, like, I get it. Kyle Schwarber's got like unreal power. He's like a crazy power hitter. But, like, really, in your personal opinion, would you rather Kyle Schwarber or Pete Alonso? Now, the reason I say that is because Pete Alonso is going to hit a ton of home runs, and sure, he's not great defensively at first base, but can play the position. Kyle Schwarber can't play a position at all. So, like, I just like, because the only reason I'm bringing that up is because I've been seeing a lot of the Mets being involved in the Schwarber sweepstakes. And I just fundamentally don't get it, because I get that Kyle Schwarber's a great hitter and he's a great, clubhouse guy and all of that stuff. But, like, I don't know. We watch the Mets every week, every day.
Yeah.
And I just don't see Pete Alonso being that much of a liability at first base that I wouldn't want his power for a guy that does hit for crazy power but can't play a position. He's literally locking up the DH spot, period.
Yeah.
And also, the reason I like Pete is because you can have him play first base, not DH. Lindor is aging, and, he's gotten hurt a couple of years. I'm not saying he's on the decline, but I'm saying
you want to give him some time off. Yeah.
Give him some time. Give him some time as DH. Maybe give Soto some time as at DH if you want to shore up the defense in the outfield. Like, if you bring back Pete, like, you free yourself up to do so many other things, in my opinion. And I just, like, I don't see a team outside of the Red Sox are the only other team, I will agree, is the only other team that I feel like I could see Pete going to, because Pete will hit 1 million home runs in Fenway.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, he would.
But I just, I don't see, all I hear is the Mets, the Red Sox, and the Dodgers, because the Dodgers are in on everybody. But I don't even think the Dodgers are all that serious. I think it's just Mets and Sox.
I think their name is just being put in there just to kind of scare teams to be able to
they make the most money. Boris is saying, hey, they exist. They might be interested. Drive the price up. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, I think everything that you said is fair, but I think that we have to look at how these teams are viewing things, right? Like, they are not emotionally attached to Pete Alonso. They're looking at it from a mere number standpoint, right? How is he going to age at the first base position? Probably not that well, right? So they're saying that, okay, well, we may give it to him for the first few years of the contract, but then we want him to convert all the way, rather than if we just get a Kyle Schwarber who we know exactly what he is. We can just pencil him into that DH role, and now we can be able to go get a defensive first baseman to really be able to shore up our defense. So it's a confusing assessment for a lot of teams, because they may like Pete, but I think the defense, and like what you were saying, like, to your eyes, he's not a bad defensive first baseman. He's okay, but the numbers say otherwise, and that's where everybody is looking at it, right? Like, the numbers saying that he's bottom tier in regards to defensive first baseman in all the Major League Baseball. Yeah. So that's that. And we're talking about people who are just looking at numbers on a paper.
Yeah.
They are not looking at it from a mere, hey, he's a lifer here, he's a Met guy, he's our guy. That's our side of it, but everybody else doesn't have that attachment to him, and that's where his market kind of gets messed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, but I feel like because I'm all for I want guys to be, I want guys to be career Mets. I do get, emotionally attached to a lot of these guys that come here. I was, I'm sure we'll get to it at some point, but I'm sure I was bummed when Nimmo got traded.
Oh yeah,
so, totally bummed because I just love Nimmo as a player and as a person. And I loved him when he got drafted. But I feel like when I'm talking about Pete Alonso and I'm thinking about Pete Alonso, I'm taking away the emotional connection for a minute. And I'm just saying, look, let's say the Mets even gave Pete 5. Let's say the Mets gave Pete 5. And I'm looking at him as a player right now. I think they could probably squeak 2 more years out of him at first base. I don't think that's crazy to say. So out of the 5 years, you get 2 of them at first base. The last 3, he's full-time DHing. At least gives you 2 years of positional flexibility. And I'm not, as with the Mets currently constructed, sure, Soto's going to be here for the next 15 years, but I'm not thinking about, okay, can the Mets win can the Mets win 5 years from now? I'm thinking, can the Mets win, especially with the lockout coming, but I'm thinking, can the Mets win this next year?
Right.
You know what I mean? This next year and the following year. So the 2 years that we get Pete at first base, I'm thinking I want the Mets to be contending, if not winning a World Series in those 2 years. So I'd give him the 5 years. If he plays first for 2 and has to DH for 3, that's fine. I'm sure that you could, in that 3rd year, you could probably squeak him in for a couple of games at first base. Like, I'm not, I don't know. I like Kyle Schwarber. I think he's really cool. And as a player, I like him. I just still see Pete Alonso being more valuable because the guy's going to hit a bunch of home runs. He'll play he's got to get his throwing better. Throwing to first, somehow he's got to figure out how to throw to first base better.
Yeah. His underhand are terrible.
It's brutal. Yeah. But I am more for positional flexibility rather than just getting a guy that can do one thing. And if he's not DHing, he's not going to be in the lineup. You know what I mean?
Let's go ahead and talk about that a little bit too, Tom, because the flexibility, I agree with you if you're rotating that DH position for your power guys, because since the universal DH has been in, the Mets have been the worst team in regards to production at the DH position in all of baseball, right? Yeah. Because they've tried to do this flexibility thing, but sometimes if you got a masher, you might just have to sign a guy that's just, he's going to give you 40 plus and just put him in there, right? Like, we've tried the flexibility part, but maybe we've tried it with the wrong players. So if we do it with the right players, then maybe it's a formula that can be able to work for us. But if not, then maybe we do need to get somebody who's just a penciled in DH and see how that works, right? Because we haven't tried that yet. We haven't tried that yet.
Agree with I totally agree. I totally agree with you. I don't know. I look at it that maybe I don't think the Mets really had enough guys on their team that could. You're right. I don't think the Mets had enough guys on their team that could reliably be consistently put in at the DH spot and have it work. I mean, like, I loved what Mark Vientos did in the OMG Mets era, but last year he just was almost an automatic out all year. Yeah. I'm just looking at I look at the DH spot, I guess maybe because we haven't had that guy. Yeah. As this is where I'm gonna give my guys a reprieve in the field. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And that's a good plan, to be honest with you.
That's because I would love if Lindor can just maybe get a couple more at bats, but because unless one of them gets traded, we got Acuna, we got guys that can play shortstop at a clip. And we could also, like I said, if you want to shore up the outfield defense, you could put Soto at DH because all that dude does is hit anyway. Yeah. I like the flexibility, but I mean, look, if they sign Kyle Schwarber, am I going to be upset that the DH spot is locked up for however long they sign him for? No, because I know the guy's going to hit like 50 home runs. Exactly. You know what I mean? So I'm not.
And like you said, be a good locker room guy.
Be a good locker room guy because evidently they need it. You know what I mean? Like it was crazy how much like I was screaming this past year for them to be like, dudes, can you just bring JD Martinez in off the couch to do something? Like, just bring him in to just rally the troops a little bit because that was one of the things that turned the team around last year was JD Martinez and Jose Iglesias. And they kind of got everybody on the same page, I guess, and they went on that run. And last year, you just didn't feel that.
Yeah, not exactly. So I guess that's a perfect segue into all the rumblings. But before we do that, sign Pete back.
Please. Let's
just cut the BS. Cut the check and cut the BS and get these guys back.
Yeah, absolutely. I hate that. I genuinely don't understand the Pete Alonso hate. I don't get it. Like I said, I've said a million times, I understand he's got defensive shortcomings. I really am a firm believer you can look at stats all you want and they'll tell you one story, but you really don't know a player unless you're watching him play every single day. I watch the dude play every single day, and I'm telling you, he can play first base. Like he's not just gonna forget how to play baseball. Like he can feel the ground ball, he can make some diving stops. He's serviceable. He can make it work. And oh, by the way, he hit like 40, 50 home runs. So like, what are we doing?
Right. So let's go ahead and just talk about it. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. I have been screaming since maybe 4 years now, and I'm being nice, that I've had enough of Jeff McNeil on this team.
Yeah.
Like I just like people tell me, oh, he's the batting champ. I'm like, all of that is cool, but he has an attitude or a way about him that is not conducive to a healthy clubhouse.
Yeah.
And you see that when things are good, people will ignore it. When things are not going so well, it's going to become a hindrance. And we've seen Lindor and McNeil butt heads several times since Lindor's been here. We heard some news or some reports about them having a little dust up this year as well. Like we've heard from outside other players that really don't have an affinity for Jeff McNeil. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's just like, I'm ready to send his ass to Mars. Like, I don't care what the Mets get for him. Like, I don't need a big-time reliever. I don't need a major league player. Just get what you can get for him to be able to free up that spot and get that out of your locker room, because it's one of those things where it's like, I'm over it. I'm over it, Tom. And I want to know how you feel about it, because I keep hearing these stories about Jeff McNeil, and there's a lot of truth behind it, and it's time to be able to move on from that. I don't want David Stearns to try to be a mad scientist and say, oh, well, we can be able to give him reps at first base. We can give him reps. No. I don't need him to be any super utility guy on this team. I need him to go. I need him to go somewhere else.
I totally agree with you. Hearing Jeff McNeil playing first base, that just puts a knot in my stomach.
Yeah.
I'm just the batting title Jeff McNeil is long gone. Like, you know what? Just to be a nice person to him, maybe that guy is still there. That guy's not coming back here.
Not in Queens. Not in
Queens. And it was just bothering me, because when these stories kept coming out, there were people taking Jeff's side and coming at Lindor for all of this. And I'm like, guys, really sit down with yourself for a second. If you're starting a baseball team, who would you want on your team more, Jeff McNeil or Francisco Lindor? Anybody that says Jeff McNeil, you have some ulterior motive.
Yeah.
And you just might not like Francisco Lindor, because Jeff McNeil he's a good second baseman. He's an okay outfielder. And the guy can't hit consistently. There's only so many times a season I can watch this guy spike his helmet and bat into the ground while taking his gloves off, walking back to the dugout after striking out or hitting a lazy fly ball into the outfield.
With runners on second and third.
Exactly. Like, he's not the reason the Mets didn't hit what's in runners in scoring position, but he didn't help either. I didn't see a batting champion this year. I don't know if maybe I need new glasses, but I did not see a batting champion. I would definitely trade McNeil for a two-way Metro card. I'm sure they get more use out of that.
100%, Chef Mama. You trade him for a gym bag and send his ass to Mars. Like, I'm over it. I'm over it. Like, I was big on, like, last season when we went through the run, right? And everybody's excited, and all of a sudden the news came out and said Jeff McNeil is going to be on the NLCS roster. I said, no, don't do this. Yeah. Don't mess up a good thing. Don't have his jinx ass come on this roster and mess us up. Yeah, that's how I was feeling.
Yeah.
And it felt like that the entire series. I'm like, it might not have been Jeff McNeil's fault that we lost, but I'm putting it on Jeff McNeil. That's how much I'm just like, I'm over it. I'm over it now. You know what I mean?
If Jeff McNeil cared more about his approach at the plate more than his golf swing,
right?
I would love Jeff McNeil again. Like if Jeff McNeil was hitting 260, if Jeff McNeil was hitting like roping doubles, and like if Jeff McNeil was this batting champion that was like I think 3 years ago at this point, then this is a different conversation. But he's just not that player. He's older.
Yeah.
He's a super utility guy. Like he's probably a bench player on other teams. Like I don't see him as a starter. Like I see him as Gio Urshela. Like I see him as a bench player, you know, and I don't need that. I got Marcus Semien here, who I'm excited about. Sure, he's had a couple of down years with the Rangers, but I hear he was like a captain of that team. He's a good like clubhouse guy, the reason I hate saying that is because I used to make fun of Todd Frazier for that all the time. Like when Todd Frazier came here, I kept hearing that he was a good clubhouse guy. And then he would just have the ugliest swing in the world, would not hit anything. Like had one good memorable home run with the Mets. And then I would text my friend group like, oh, he's a good locker room guy though. So I hate that I say that about Marcus Semien, but I'm going to try to be glass half full. The guy's a Gold Glove second baseman. So I'm not going to, I'd rather have that vibe and a guy that just from his press conference just was like all business, like ready to get in and get going. So I'll pencil that in at second base. I think he'll work better with Lindor and ship McNeil off to Seattle or whoever else wants him, because I think that was one of the teams.
He fits, to me, he fits the Giants like kind of mold. Like he looks like a San Francisco Giant type of player to me. Like he's a guy that can just be all over the place and be a utility guy, and you know what I mean? Like so send him somewhere like that, man, because it's just if he comes back next season, then things have gone really wrong in regards to your off-season plans. You know what I'm saying?
Where's he playing? Like, where is he playing? Because I'm not like there was another. There's another outfielder coming. Like there's another outfielder that's going to get added to this mix.
Right.
Your second base is going to be locked up by Marcus Semien, and you can't sit here and preach run prevention, and tell me, okay, but Jeff McNeil's going to play first base. You can't. That's just, you can't do that. You can't tell me that Pete Alonso is worse defensively than Jeff McNeil, who's never played first base at all, to my knowledge, at all in the majors. Like maybe he got in there once. I don't. Yeah. No,
I agree.
But
I agree.
You know,
I agree.
Like I don't get it.
It's definitely they gotta get him out of there and get him out of there quick. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Brandon Nimmo is, the 1-for-1 trade. Brandon Nimmo is now with the Rangers. Marcus Semien is here with the Mets. I'm just gonna share my thoughts on Brandon Nimmo. Brandon Nimmo is just emotionally one of my favorite Mets of all time, just because we got him as a 17-year-old. This guy was just a young kid coming out of high school, and now he gets this chance to get to the majors, and he was just a consummate professional. Like he was always, I always thought of him as our Hunter Pence.
I'm right there, literally right there with you.
You know what I mean? Like that, he was our Hunter Pence. He just played the game that way, and he just exuberated just leadership and everything that is just good about being a Mets fan. You know what I'm saying? So, but we heard the rumblings. We heard the rumblings for a couple of years, and then it started to get louder as the season went on, saying that, if there is an opportunity where there's a trade that might be available here, we might see Brandon Nimmo, possibly get moved if he accepts the trade. And, when the news came down, man, I was shocked. I was shocked that he actually accepted the deal, because he didn't have to. He had a full no trade. But for him to be able to talk to DeGrom, talk about the Texas roster, and then say, you know what, I want to see the Mets do well. And if they feel that getting rid of me to be able to fortify their outfield, to be able to give maybe Carson Benz a chance or a big time other outfielder, then I'm such a Met lifer that I want to see them do what's best for the organization. So it was sad for me to see him go. But at the same time, it's like it does open up a lot of opportunities for the Mets to be able to be a lot more dynamic offensively. So, it's a catch-22. Is like you're sad to see him go, but there is some upside in regards to that position now being open that you can be able to really, really like put some special talent out there.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, and look, I'm in lockstep with you on everything you just said. Like I love Nimmo. When Nimmo came up, I remember being a cashier at Pathmark, and I was like doing the carts, and one of the guys that used to stock the shelves he was a Mets fan, and we used to talk baseball all the time, and he'd always scream at me, "But what about this guy Nemo that we just drafted last year?" And I was like, dude, I promise you he's going to be good. Because I after we drafted him and I saw that he was coming out of high school, I just started looking him up. And I loved it. There's really like no baseball around him. Like I think he grew up a Rockies fan. It was a dude from literally the middle of nowhere coming to New York. And then he came up and was just, I don't want to, consistent's probably not the right word because he wasn't like the most consistent outfielder, but he was just a guy that came up with just so much youth and energy and played how you want to see your guys play. Like he always gave it his all, always played hard, and then he always got on base, and that was great about Nimmo. He always got on base. I thought he was a guy at times. It's similar to Pete where his defense was disrespect a little bit. Like I definitely think it's taken a step back now. His arm is not what it used to be. He's not. I think at one point in time, I thought he could be a really good center fielder. At this point, I don't think he can do that.
Yeah, I think since the foot injury, it's really you've really seen a change in regards to like his how he angles himself towards getting balls. You know what I mean? Like there's been a significant change in his mobility out there.
And he's as he got older, he just didn't. Like Nimmo used to be like I'm gonna try to do whatever I can to put the ball in play. And Nimmo, he wasn't that like get on base, get hits kind of guy anymore. And Nimmo's maybe he's got it in him. I don't see him as like a big prolific power hitter. So like he was kind of that like in between spot. You know what I mean? Like I'm not hitting enough home runs, but I am still kind of drawing walks and getting on base, but I'm not doing it enough to where like I can justify the rest of this contract taking up this spot. So while I'm really bummed because I would have loved to see Nimmo, have his day at Citi Field as like going out as a lifer. Now I just hope that he comes back for Old Timers Day in a few years when he's retired. And I hope nothing but the best for him in Texas. I think
we'd definitely be rooting for him.
The only thing that sucks is so I know one of the things about the whole trade was that they were bringing back Marcus Semien, who is older, who has had a couple of down years. But what was crazy was I believe the Rangers as a team, they all hit worse at home than they did on the road for some reason. So like maybe
it was a down year for the whole team.
Yeah. So I'm not saying that Marcus Semien, he's 35.
35, yeah.
35. I'm not saying that Marcus Semien at 35 is going to go back to that like MVP candidate that he was at one point in his career. But do I think he's a good enough baseball player to like ratchet it up a little bit from where he was last year? Yeah. And do I think like a movement from Texas to Queens, maybe I sometimes think the New York hype gets a little overblown, but you are coming to New York. And you're at a team that is ready to go and try to win a championship. Hopefully that, especially with him being a World Series champion already and having that experience, is enough to get the juices flowing again and getting him closer to what he was in his better years than he was last year. I feel like you can probably get somewhere in the middle to where this deal feels okay. It's fine.
Yeah, no, I agree. Going back to Nimmo, if you look at his last few seasons with us, his power numbers have gone up, his RBIs have gone up. But if you look at his on-base percentage, that on-base percentage really tanked. Yeah. And, he went from a guy that was an on-base 380, 390, 400. Now he's 320. So you're seeing that the plate discipline is not there. The range in the outfield is not there. And then you tack on another 5 years to that contract. It just wasn't going to age well.
No.
And, it was better off that we go ahead and move that contract. Now, in regards to Marcus Semien, everything that you said, I agree with. I think, his leadership alone is going to be something that we need because he's a no-nonsense guy, accountability guy. He's going to be able to bring that locker room together as a veteran guy, right? A guy that works hard. For him to get a Gold Glove at his age right now shows you the hard work that he puts in every day out there, right? So that is going to rub off on the team, is that you need more guys like that are just grinders, right? And he's a definition of a grinder. And I don't need Marcus Semien to hit 275 next year. But if he can be able to give me 245, if he can have, you know, a OPS of like 750, right? Anywhere between 750, 775.
Yeah.
That's okay for me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't need to tear it up. Just as long as that defense of the middle is sound, we're going to be able to save a lot more games and be in a lot more games because you have that great defense of the middle, right? So that's where his value in the locker room is gonna come into play. His value on the field is gonna come into play. And if he can be able to run into 20 home runs and have it as, like I said, 750 OPS, I think that's a home run for the Mets.
Yeah, and especially since, look, I don't know how much stock a lot of people put into this, but there are going to be some young guys that the Mets are going to have in camp and giving them a shot to make the team, and more guys like that are who I would want my young guys around. You know, if Jet Williams is going to get a shot, you know, I know they talk about him playing the outfield, but how many Simeon's? There's how many more years left on that deal?
3.
Okay, so Jet might not wind up playing the infield anytime soon, but I would still rather have that guy around a Carson Bench, around Jet Williams, around, I don't know how
AJ Ewing,
Ryan Clifford might get traded, but you know, I'd rather have that kind of voice. Again, especially a guy that's won before. Like, I don't know, outside of Juan Soto, is there another guy on this team that's won a World Series?
No.
I don't think so. No, it's just Marcus Semien and
Juan
Soto. So, and we've also heard that, like, Juan Soto's not the rah, you know, team leader. Like,
but we knew that. I mean,
no. I'm not faulting it. I'm not faulting it for that. Nobody you don't have to be that guy.
No.
You know, especially even if, like, regardless of the contract, you don't have to be that guy. You just have to come in, do your job,
take care of business,
and take care of business. You know, so if Marcus Semien can be that guy, I'm all for it. I wasn't like, I understand it. I think a lot of the Nimmo trade hate was mostly just like emotional connection
absolutely
to the guy, you know. And then also I think it's just a jaded idea of the Mets that a lot of us fans have, where we're used to, like, moves being made and then none to complement those moves. You know, because sure, I mean, the Cohen era has seen a lot of them trying to do stuff like that, but for the vast majority of the teams, you know, of our viewing of the team, it's been like, we'll make one move and then hope it works, and then there's nothing else to complement it. I'm in a place right now where I was like, I saw the Marcus Semien trade. I was shocked. I was bummed Nimmo went, but now it's like, okay, bring in a guy that's a Gold Glove defender, and now let's see what else is happening. Let's see what else, because there's going to be another. Again, there's definitely going to be another one coming. The Mets are not going to go into the season with their only moves being Marcus Semien at second base and Devin Williams in the bullpen. It's just not happening.
I agree. So we had a question here with Ocean View Coffee Shop. Is Diaz signed yet? Not yet. You know, there was some fake news out there that said that he might sign today, but you know, it could be coming in the subsequent days. We'll see. But for right now, he's still a free agent. So no for right now. So let's just go into, you know, what our predictions are for the winter meetings, right? Like, we know that there's an outfield move coming. Now, what is your, I don't know, you know, what is your sense telling you? Is it more free agent signing? Is it more trade? Because there's a lot of names that are being floated around. There's Byron Buxton's name floating around. You have Luis Robert's name floating around. You have Fernando Tatis's name floating around. You have Cody Bellinger's name floating around. So where do you think that there's the most smoke in regards to what you're hearing out there in regards to these rumblings?
I would like to just preface this by saying, anybody watching, I am not tapped in with anybody that knows anything. I'm just saying, I just see too many reports, and the Mets have been connected too much to Luis Robert Jr.
For a while now. So I can't. That's the one that I feel like, if they're going to make a trade for an outfielder, that's the one that they're going to make the trade for. I even feel like that's more likely than Cody Bellinger, because I really think the Mets are going to try to bring Pete back, and I don't know if we get Bellinger and Pete. But
You
if
know
you
what I mean?
but if you do get Bellinger, I think it works better than a Robert, right? Because you can
Oh
move
yeah,
Bellinger around, right? So if you do bring Pete back and you still want Pete to DH, you can put Bellinger at first, right? So
yeah.
that kind of gives you that flexibility that you're looking for,
Oh,
right?
totally. No,
Yeah.
I would love.
I agree with what you're saying, though. I think Robert has more smoke behind him.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and I think because is he a free agent at the end of this next year, or is
He has 2 years left.
2 years left?
He has this year and he has another year.
So I just think I feel like I could see the Mets being like, okay, we might not have to trade a whole lot because I think he's coming off of 2 down years.
Yeah. Yeah.
We might not have to trade a whole lot for 2 years of control. Whereas if we bring in Cody Bellinger, they're probably going to have to give Bellinger probably a 4 or 5 year deal,
Maybe 6. I'm hearing
maybe
6.
6. So I think that while they want to, I think tag team in Pete Alonso and Cody Bellinger would be a home run of an offseason. That would be unreal.
Chef Mamba said, took me a while to get over Soto. Devin, hands off my belly. he's a big time Yankee fan. So Chef Mamba, he doesn't want too many Yankees going to Queens. I understand. But I'm gonna tell you right now, my man, Belly might be on the docket. I'm just saying.
They're gonna have to close down the Throgs Neck and the Whitestone because Yankee fans are gonna be driving off it.
Right.
Yeah. No, so but I don't know. I want to see more smoke around the Cody Bellinger thing for me to believe that he's gonna come away from the Yankees because honest to God, I can't look at the Yankees. I can't see the Yankees looking their fans in the face and saying, we're not going to bring back Cody Bellinger and we're going to contend
giving you
next
is
year.
Trent Grisham.
Exactly. I just can't physically see that happening.
Yeah.
And, so look, in a perfect world, I would love it if the Mets went out and got Cody Bellinger, Pete Alonso, maybe get another bring back Diaz, you definitely need a starter.
Yeah.
But then we're off and running. I'm hoping that we get some action at the winter meetings.
Yeah, I think we do. I think to me, you say Robert, and I'm not even disagreeing with you. I think there is a lot of smoke there, but I think that there's a dark horse out there. I think this Fernando Tatis thing is going to start to grow legs. Like, I really think that if you're thinking about the next 5-6 years, that makes more sense just because of the dynamic that you have on the team, the Dominican connection with those things make a lot of sense. And if you want to pair Soto with somebody for the next decade, that's the guy that you want to pair him with.
Oh, I totally agree with you. My only issue with the Fernando Tatis thing is I just haven't seen enough smoke from the Padres that he's going to get traded. We know that the Padres are selling, I believe.
They're definitely selling, and that's why I think that it's going to start to ramp up, I believe. Yeah.
When I start seeing that from the because all I've seen it is just from articles through Twitter, and I've seen speculation that Fernando Tatis might get traded, but until I see more proof from the Padres themselves, I'm not going to get myself too excited because of everybody that you just mentioned. I am totally with you. I'd give up so much for Fernando Tatis Jr. just because I think he's that good of a player.
Yeah, 26.
And he's 26.
Take Jet Williams. Take whoever. Go ahead.
But I do got a question for you. So with that, if you're getting Fernando Tatis Jr. because of the length of the contract, you might be able to, and you're going to eat all of the money. You're going to take all the money.
You're going to take all the money.
I'd imagine you'd maybe get a little bit of a cut on what you'd have to give up, but you're still going to have to give up a lot.
Yeah, you're still going to have to give up a couple of top 20 prospects.
But you're probably going to have to give up those top 20 prospects if you're willing to get Tariq Skubal from the Tigers.
I don't listen. I'm with you. I don't know if the Dodgers. I don't know if the Tigers are willing to give him up, man. According to Jeff Passan,
they're not going to pay him.
Yeah, 10%. He thinks that the Tigers are interested in actually trading Skubal. They might literally kick themselves in the foot to hold him until the deadline and get less just to be spiteful because they don't want to give him up. Because the thing is, and also too, it's about Scott Boras. I think the Mets would go all in and throw all their guns at the Tigers. Whatever you want, we'll give it to you. but we have to speak to Boris and have an agreement in place that once we trade for Skubal, we're going to extend him immediately, and he doesn't even hit free agency.
Oh, yeah.
Like there has to be some assurance that way. Otherwise, I don't think the Mets they're not going to empty out their cabinet just for a rental. I just don't think that they're going to do that.
The only reason I would say that they probably would do it is just because of what we experienced this past year. Like, I mean, the Mets are in clear, desperate need of like a big time starting pitcher, an ace, and outside of Tariq Skubal, I don't think I see that ace. Like Framber Valdez interests me just because he's been good. He's pitched it.
We just got to update his. It says Armando is amazing. It says it came out today that the Tigers are listening to trade offers for Skubal now. Okay, so if that's legit, then we'll see what happens.
Because you're never because his agent Scott Boras, you're never gonna get that. You're never gonna get that guarantee that okay, we're gonna trade for him and we're gonna re-sign him because Boras is never gonna let a client like that of his caliber do that.
I'm sorry, Armand. Yeah, Armand is your name. My bad.
But I appreciate the update. So I don't know. I think I'm more inclined to like. I think I would rather Tariq Skubal. I know you had to take the brunt of me sipping the pitching lab Kool-Aid earlier in the year because I wanted
to wring your neck.
Yeah, I was saying the whole time, I was like, look what they did last year. They took a bunch of bargain basement pitchers and they got to the NLCS. Yeah. If Stearns can do it with Sevy, Sean Manaea, and all these other patchwork guys, he can do it with Griffin Canning, Frankie Montas, and he could do it with all these guys.
Yeah.
Evidently, I was wrong. They need a real frontline starter.
Well, here's my question before you finish.
Yeah.
Here's my question. I'm all in on the Skubal thing.
Yeah.
Are you willing to give up Sproat, Tong, and all? Are you willing to do that? That's all I'm saying.
You have to.
Oh,
with this team, I can't. With this team, you just have to.
Yeah.
Like we're not in it. I used to be. I still kind of am because I don't want to trade Jet Williams. I don't want to trade Carson Benj. I don't even really want to trade Brandon Sproat or Jonah Tong or Nolan McLean because I'd imagine that when those conversations for Tariq Skubal happen, McLean's the first name that gets said. I'd have to imagine.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want to trade those guys. I think McLean. I think once you start throwing McLean's name,
I think he's untouchable. I don't.
That's
think
where I wind up getting to the untouchable thing because I just like his makeup, and it just when he came up, I was like, oh my god, I'm having Jacob deGrom flashbacks right now.
Same. He Matt Harvey as well. Like
but I also like, so we're talking about Jonah Tong, we're talking about Brandon Sproat, we're talking about Jet Williams. I have two names for you. That I'm assuming you probably remember, that were supposed to be all-world prospects.
Listening.
In Lastings Millage and what was it, Fernando Martinez? No, it wasn't Fernando Martinez. It was Jordani Valdespin.
Yeah.
There were a lot of guys that were Ahmed Rosario turned out to be a good pro, but it turns out to be a good pro. But he wasn't the guy that we all assumed he would be. He wasn't that like star in the lineup that we thought we were grooming to come up and be the next prime position player. So while I like the young guys, I need some more reassurance, especially with this Mets team where they're not ancient, but they're not young. Yeah. And oh, by the way, we have a looming work stoppage coming.
Very important.
So like I need the Mets to win now. I need the Mets to win in 2026.
We can't think about 2 years down the line, 3 years. We need to talk about right now.
The New York Mets historically, I understand there were some lean years in there, but the New York Mets historically have been that pitching lab that existed with Jeremy Hefner. The Mets have been a pitching lab for a long time. They figure they can develop pitching. They'll figure it out. I'm sure that there's some young guys that we haven't even heard of that in a couple of years we'll be having the same conversations that we had about Sproat and Tong and McLean. I'm sure they're going to perk up. Yeah. But with all of those lottery tickets, if you can get me Tariq Skubal and that guy could be the front, my top of the line starter, my ace, I'm willing to do that, especially with Steve Cohen, because this isn't like the Wilpon years. We're not trading for Tariq Skubal and then just being like, okay,
we're not going to be able to sign him.
Here's our one shot at it. And if this doesn't work, he's going to go walk to somebody else next year. No, if he comes in and deals, Steve Cohen's going to open up the checkbook and he's going to hand this guy $1 bajillion and we're good to go.
You're starting to sway me, sir. It's one of those things where, and the reason why I think that I'm starting to lean a lot more to that, because I still want Scooble, right? But I'm just thinking about, oh my God, like, what do we have to give up for him? Do we have to give him the king's ransom? And I'm just like, but the fact that David Stearns and his group, they've done such a great job in regards to advanced scouting, being able to build up this farm system. Even if we do have to give up a king's ransom for Tarek Skubal, I do have faith in Stearns and company to be able to replenish that cabinet and find talent again, because they're really good at doing so, especially when it comes to arms, because we have a shit ton of arms in the farm system to be able to pick from, right? So that makes me more confident that, yes, if they do want a king's ransom, I think it's worth the risk to be able to do that. Because as you said, you look at this team, if they put this team together the right way, if you can get a Tarek Skubal at the top of your rotation with a McLean, if you're going to trade off Senga, if you're going to go get somebody else, a Framer Valdez, if you get, like, now you're saying, oh man, there's some heavy hitters here. And just like what Chef Mamba says, Skubal, Valdez, Manaya, Nolan Ryan, he's talking about McLean, right? Or I think he's talking about Joe Ryan, Peterson. That rotation might be better than the Dodgers rotation. And that's the rotation that can be able to push a 6 or 7 series, or even dominate in a short series as well. So that's what you want. You want arms that are going to be impossible to get over come playoff time. And that's what you have to stack up. Like, damn this, this marginal trying to find gems in the sand. Like, no. Go get the heavy hitters, and then you can be able to figure out how you're going to be able to, like, get these reclamation projects that you can put in the minor leagues or whatever it is to see how you can develop those guys. But go get the heavy hitters at the top of your rotation.
Exactly, because they need it. Like, again, I would absolutely love Fernando Tatis Jr. on this team. I just realized that the Mets can make moves to improve their offense, but they desperately need to make moves to improve their pitching staff.
Absolutely.
And I'm willing to take the risk if it means bringing in one of the best pitchers, if not the best pitcher in baseball currently, for take almost whatever you want. You could probably sway me on Nolan McLean. You could probably talk me into it. I could probably talk myself into it. I don't want to do it because I really think he's going to be really good, but I'm not going to get myself too attached to Sproat. I'm not going to get myself too attached to Tong, because as great as they sounded and as great as Tong was in the minors, they still got to do it here.
Yeah,
I know what Skubal's given me.
Correct.
I know what Skubal's going to give me, and I would rather that. Nothing's a sure thing, but I feel like it's closer to a sure thing than Jonah Tong and Brandon Sproat becoming Tariq Skubal. So if I want them to become Tariq Skubal, why not just get Tariq Skubal?
Right. So Armand just said that Ken Rosenthal just reported the Twins are expected to not trade Ryan Buxton or Pablo Lopez and build around them to compete in 26. So if that's true, that really kind of changes the Mets plans, unless they can be able to really give the Twins something that they cannot refuse to be able to pull a deal like that. But I'm a fan of Joe Ryan. I am not a fan of the fact that he's not a pitcher that can go deep in the games, but that's the thing, is that he has great stuff. He has lights out stuff, but it's going to be the same issues that we've had last year, where you need guys to be able to go 6-7. Like, we can't have guys to be able to throw 115 pitches in 4 innings and then they have nothing going forward. Like, we need to make sure that we're not taxing our bullpen, where we can be able to have a fresh bullpen and be able to rotate these guys and have a lights out situation. But you have to get starting pitching that can be able to go deep in the games.
That's my that's my real issue. Why I think it's Tariq Skubal or bust almost, because I was looking before we started at some of the pitchers that could be available. And while I like Joe Ryan, I'm similar with you. I need guys that can go deeper. Joe Ryan to me right now looks like a 2-starter. Not bad, but he looks like a 2-starter. And I'm
potential, but definitely a 2-starter.
And I'm not looking to trade a King's ransom for a 2-starter. I want a guy that's gonna go deep into games, give me some length, and be that stopper, that bulldog that the Mets desperately needed. Like, if you went into it next year with a rotation of of Tariq Skubal, Nolan McLean. Your third starter is Sean Manaea, and your fourth starter is David Peterson. I think that's fine.
Right.
I think that's totally fine. I forgot Senga's still going to be here, assuming I'm not really ready to trade Senga at the basement because
Me neither.
I think
like,
you're trading him at his lowest value.
Yeah.
And just real quick on the Byron Buxton thing, I understand that Byron Buxton has put up some good numbers. The man just does not play enough baseball games for me.
Yeah.
And again, we're gonna bring up old scars from the Mets, and Byron Buxton strikes me as a player that's going to put on blue and orange and become tissue paper. And I'm really scared of that. I don't want to give up so much for a guy that's not going to play a lot of baseball games when they're going to desperately need it.
Yeah. Nah, true. I mean, I think he's only played 2 full seasons in his career.
Yeah, it's been bad. He was like, I remember when he was coming up and he was like the next big thing. Unfortunately, he plays in Minnesota, and unfortunately for Minnesota, they're in the American League and have to play the Yankees all the time.
Yeah.
Sucks for them because they can't beat the Yankees. So that's why I don't understand why the Twins want to try to build around Joe Ryan and Byron Buxton and Pablo Lopez, because do you really have enough to contend at this point? I don't think so.
What about a Cole Reagans from the Royals? I hear he might be available.
I'd be interested. Like a little hate for the Royals just because of 2015. So I'm a little jaded on that team.
Still burns.
I'm afraid he's a sleeper cell. But no, there's nobody that it's weird. Like, there's nobody that I'm dying for the Mets to trade for outside of Tariq Skubal or Fernando Tatis Jr. I feel like the rest can be handled in free agency.
Yeah, but so I guess Framer Valdez is our guy that we need, because everybody's saying that all roads point to Framer Valdez. Like, honestly, like, they're saying that the Mets are one of the favorites, if not the favorites to land.
And now let's paint this picture for you. Let's say they bring in Framber Valdez. Great. I don't know what deal he's looking for right now, but they bring him in.
He's on a short deal. You can get him on a 4-year deal, probably.
Yeah. He's here. Nolan's at 2, Senga 3 or 4, or flip-flop him and Manaea maybe.
Yep.
And then if the Tigers don't trade Tariq Skubal until the deadline, Tariq Skubal comes in as a trade deadline acquisition, we're off to the races.
It's pretty good.
You know what I mean? I am all for something like that. And I think it's totally believable. The weird thing too, I know we're kind of pivoting real quick. I just want to make sure that I don't forget to say this, is I keep seeing a lot of like Tristan Cassis from the Red Sox or Jarren Duran from the Red Sox.
Jarren Duran,
I like him too. I just don't understand why the Red Sox would be willing to trade a player like him if they're trying to contend. You know what I mean?
Well, I know that they got the other kid. What's his name? Wilbur. What's his name, man? Oh my goodness. That kid is pretty good. So I think that they're looking at it.
I guess I don't. Oh, Wilbur Wilyer Abreu.
Yeah, him. Right. Yeah. Right. So if they can be able to trade off with Duran and then give Abreu the actual the you know what I mean? Like they can be able to still be very, very formidable, because they do have a lot of young talent on the Red Sox. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So they wouldn't miss much. They wouldn't miss much.
I guess
exactly. They got Roman Anthony. They got Rafala. They have a lot of depth there that they can be able to part ways with a Duran if they actually wanted to.
I guess so. I guess I'm just like, it's one of those things where it's like when you're trying to contend, it always weirds me out when they're like teams are trading. I get that you have the Astros moved on from Correa because they had a guy to take his place. It always weirds me out when you have a good team trying to contend and they just trade away good players.
Yeah. I mean, it happens all the time because they're looking at it from a monetary standpoint, or just trying to get their young players more opportunity. Like, exactly, Anthony would be playing left field if Duran's traded. That's actually a fact. So they have options and flexibility that they can be able to do. Cause sort of like us, right? Like, Carson Bench is coming. Yeah. You want to give opportunity to Carson Bench, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you have somebody that's a guaranteed sure thing, because we don't want to have a second year of just relying on the kids and it happen again, right? Yeah. Like, we want to make sure that you have Like I'm somebody who's like, give me back of baseball guy, back of baseball card guy. I don't want to like put my future on just potential. I need production. I need guys who have done it before at a level that they can be able to be here and produce. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, and I think you just talked yourself even more into making this Skubal trade.
Yes. I'm telling you, you've sold me on it. I am all right with it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like again, I trust David Stearns when it comes to building that farm system. So if they have to go ahead and go part with a Jonah Tong and a Sproat and some other guys, I'm okay with that, just as long as we get that bad man. That's fine.
But
I am not willing to part with those guys for a Joe Ryan. I'm not willing to part with those guys for somebody else. It has to be Tarik Skubal. It has to be.
Exactly, because he is what the Mets need. That is like, I think of, if nothing else, the Mets should have to make their offseason about getting the starting rotation better. Sure, right now the lineup does need help. I will not discount that at all. But I have more faith that they're going to be able to figure out the lineup. I have less faith that they would be able to figure out the pitching. I just think they need to put more focus into getting the pitching handled.
Chef Mamba is getting me hyped. Don't do that, man. Don't put that bad man out there either, because I would trade the entire farm system for Paul Skeens. The entire thing. Who do you want?
They can have the facilities.
Write the names in there. If I'm David Stearns, just write the names, who you want, and we'll send them over immediately. That's
I feel so bad for Paul Skeens, because the Pirates are going to run that man into the ground.
Yeah, they are.
Him.
But honestly, I think that if you're starting to hear some rumblings that they want to spend some money this offseason,
I'll believe that when I see it.
They've been in on Schwarber. They've been on a couple guys. So we'll see what happens, because they're going to have to start spending some money, because if Skeens says, yeah, I want out of here, there's no way that they're going to be able to keep him.
Well, no, but I mean, like, the only reason they would be able to keep him is because he's under team control.
He's under control.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and they could just be like, okay, then don't play. You know what I mean? I'm not going to trade you for a bag of balls.
Right.
So, I don't know. I don't see the Pirates actually. I wish they would, because I like the Pirates as an organization. You know, their stadium's really nice.
But man, they are cheap bastards.
They are just cheap bastards, and they're going to be their owner is going to be one of the guys that is fighting the other owners to keep the lockout going. So I have no love lost for the owners of the Pirates. But real quick, side note, I just was looking at some of the free agents that are available.
Yep. Let's hear it.
This is not a starter that I'm about to say, but we could have a really, really nice homecoming this offseason. Do you know who's available?
Who?
We just mentioned the 2015 season. Do you know who's a free agent who was on those 2015 Mets? That's actually been raking in his new home.
Who is that? Hold on.
We have a real emotional tie to this man.
Wilmer Flores?
Wilmer Flores. I would so bring back Wilmer on the bench. You could pencil him in at DH when we need to.
Listen, I love Wilmer Flores, man. That's my guy, man. Like, I still remember him crying. Like, yo, I'm not trying to leave here, man. I love this place.
That would be the ceremonial, like, way to replace the vibes of Nimmo.
Right, make us feel better.
We lost Nimmo, but Wilmer's coming home. Do that for us.
That's interesting. I mean, listen, who knows what's going to happen? But I mean, give me a dark horse signing that you think that we might have and nobody's really talking about. Like, out of the free agents that you might see there, what is the dark horse signing that you'd be like, whoa, I did not see that coming?
I think my only. To be totally blunt, I don't know if I really have one, because I don't know if there really is that guy that I would be like, oh wow, I'm shocked that they brought this guy in. You know, right. I honestly, like, I would be at this point with what David Stearns has said, I would be surprised if they brought in Kyle Schwarber. I like him as a player. That seems weird to say that Kyle Schwarber would be a dark horse, because he's just so good. Yeah, it's just. David Stearns preached about run prevention. He likes flexibility of players, and as much as, again, I would be totally on board with bringing in Kyle Schwarber. Who wouldn't? I still think it doesn't, like, totally fit the the mold of what David Stearns has been preaching for the last 2 years, so I would probably say that one, because again, even if you're looking at the other available free agents, there's not so many people that are all that impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Bo Bichette, but we got Marcus
Yeah.
Semien, so where's he going to play,
Right. Can he play third?
I don't know. Well, he is a shortstop. Shortstops tend to play all over the place. Chef Mamba just said JT Real Muto.
Yes.
Not a bad idea. I just don't know if they're ready to give up on Francisco Alvarez yet.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think the fact he's still too young for me to give up on him. Just the fact and the fact that they're bringing up JP Arancibia to be able to like really help him develop that swing, because remember when he went down to the minors, JP was just like, what the hell are they doing up there with you, kid? Just go back to what you were doing before.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're a masher. There's not like this compact swing BS that they were trying to make you do. That's not your game. You are a power hitter. Just do that. And he kind of got back to his regular way of doing things, right? So I would love to see that, him healthy for a full season, no fractures in the hands and nothing like that, for him to be able to unleash that power that we saw when he came up, right? What did he hit? 24 home runs as a rookie. So like, this is a guy that he can be, you can pencil him in for 20 plus home runs as a catcher. And that's pretty elite. So
he's a pretty good catcher too.
Yeah. And he's pretty good too. He's really developed himself into a really good catcher. So I like Real Muto, but I think that Alvarez has a lot more. His ceiling is a lot higher than Real Muto in regards to like what he has left. Real Muto is kind of, he's still a good player, but how many years is he still going to be productive? I'd rather take the chance with Alvarez.
No, I'm totally with you. I'd rather just let Alvarez be the catcher, and we'll see what we can do going forward. And I don't know if I necessarily want to. I don't know if I want to give JT all that. I mean, back then I did. Like back when we got James McCann, I probably would.
Yeah.
But at this point,
I would have took anybody except James McCann.
Oh well, that was one of the other spin zones. Was we got James McCann instead of JT, and it's like, you know what? He's not that bad. He's
we really be convincing ourselves on some BS sometimes. Like, hey, well, he's not that bad. He was a slap hit. Every time I went to Citi Field, I used to yell so loud at him. There was one time when he looked up, he was like, "Yo, this dude is crazy. This dude is crazy." I hear you, man.
It got to a point where I just started feeling bad. I'm like, wow, this guy is so bad, and he's hearing it. I'm like, man, I hope you didn't ask your family to come to this game.
Right.
They are going to hear it.
Don't ever invite them to any games. Because
no, he will never show up to Old Timers there.
No, not at all. Not at all. So Chef Mama says, how do you guys feel about the Japanese players who are posted? Yeah, I think they're in play too. Like, Imai, Akamoto. I like Akamoto just because his defensive prowess, like, I've heard a lot of good things about his glove. And if you're talking about run prevention, this is a guy who is a seasoned veteran, good glove. He can be able, I think his offense does translate to the major leagues as well. So that's a guy that I like. Murakami, I don't want no parts of. Yeah. Please do not sign Murakami. He can't catch up to 94 mile per hour fastballs. What do you think he's going to do in the major leagues? Like that concerns me. I don't think he was the first guy to have that issue that's come over to the majors. I don't have the numbers in front of me to prove that. But I don't think he was the first guy to come over to the majors, and that was a concern, and he had no problem transitioning. My issue with Murakami is just his glove is not that good. Yeah, it's horrible.
And again, you can't sit here and tell me that you can't back up the Brinks truck for Pete Alonso when you're going to bring in a guy who you don't know from another league.
Who hasn't proven himself here.
Who has to prove that he could play defensively here. You know what I mean? Position versatility be damned. I'm sure I've seen he could play first and third. I think he profiles more as a first baseman, but we're going to have these same conversations about Murakami that we did about Pete, So I'll rather just bring Pete back.
Here's a question for you. Amai said that he wants to, take down the Dodgers, but he also wants to be the only export on the team. Would you trade Senga and swap out Imai for Senga?
That's crazy that he wants to be the only Japanese player on the team, or like
I don't know how serious that is though. Maybe it's just his confidence. But
maybe,
yeah.
But I would Yeah, I probably would. I'd probably take a shot at it,
Yeah.
just because of how highly touted he is, and I'm I'm a little like I was really high on Senga when he first got here, but I'm just not totally sure he's ever gonna. I mean, he can't stay healthy.
Yeah,
You know,
I think
so
you know a lot of guys. What happens to them, Tom, is that when they get that injury, they can't get over it. Like
yeah,
it's like everything in them is like, oh my goodness, I've never been hurt before. I don't know what to do. Like instead of just kind of working on, focusing on rehab, focusing on getting right, like his whole mental makeup is just too he's like too locked in and he can't really once he gets sidetracked, it's over for him. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like he has to be healthy to feel good about himself rather than having to come back off of rehab, have some rehab starts, get himself right. Like he's not that type of guy. And if he's not that type of guy, it's not going to work here in New York. You know
No,
what I mean?
yeah, I totally agree with you. Now, I am saying this after saying before that I don't want to give up on Kodai Senga, but I
Yeah,
mean,
me neither.
I would
Yeah.
rather give this guy a chance and see what we got. And but if I don't think it's gonna happen. I think that they're gonna just ride it out with Senga,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Like, I just don't know. I don't know what the outside of trading for Tariq Skubal. I don't know what the move is. I can't see the move outside of Framber Valdez that's going to fortify that starting rotation definitively. Like,
Yeah.
I'm waiting for somebody smarter than me to make the
Yeah.
trade.
Yeah. I'm waiting for Jeff Passan to be able to tell us who's out there, or Will Salmon from The Athletic to tell us what's happening here. You know what I'm saying?
Somebody smarter than me rationalize why this trade is going to make the Mets rotation better, and then I'll deal with that as I will. It's just when I look at who's available, I'm like, you know what I mean? I don't see that. I don't see that ace at the top of the staff. I don't see the Mets new DeGrom or Garrett Cole or you know, I don't see that.
Yeah.
And I need them to find it.
Yeah. I mean the thing is, they're talking about Ranger. What about Ranger? I mean, maybe, you know.
Yeah.
You know, what do you think about Alcantara?
I just don't believe he's going to get traded to the Mets.
Yeah.
I like Sandy Alcantara.
They'll block us.
Yeah, I just don't believe that the Marlins are gonna want to face him that many times, and I just don't think that they want to help the Mets out in any way.
Yeah.
I think the Mets would have to pay a premium,
right?
To they'd have to pay well and above what anybody else is going to pay for Sandy Alcantara, and I agree. I just don't believe the Marlins will do it. I'd take him, even after a down year last year. I'd take him.
Chef Mamba, he said, "I'm taking that chance on Murakami. We live in a time where everything is advanced, and if he's a pro, he will adjust. But 20 and 30 mil gamble is a little deep for Hal. Listen, 15 mil right now is a little deep for Hal. Once I was shocked when they came out after Trent Grisham, accepted the QO. It was just like, oh well, got too much money locked up in the outfield. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, bro, y'all gotta spend. Like, and on top of that too, what kills me is that you got Spencer Jones waiting there. When are you going to give that kid the call up? Because he's ready to play in the major leagues. Like, he's ripped up triple. Like, there's nothing else for him to do down there. Yeah. He has to come up at some point. And I've been hearing them dangling him as trade bait. Like, do you really want to trade a Spencer Jones when you still have Stanton there and all this other stuff? Like, you might need a Spencer Jones to be able to fortify your future. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't know.
But the Yankees are in a similar position as the Mets are, where like you can't necessarily like you can't think about the future really. You have to think about right now. Like you have Aaron Judge in the prime of his career. Who knows when that dip is going to come? I mean, unless Aaron Judge is the first person in the world to defeat Father Time, which I doubt it.
Barry Bonds did it with Juice.
Yeah, exactly. But that's out of the league now. So supposedly, so that dip is going to come at some point, and you need to get as much as you can out of the Yankees to hopefully for their sake get Aaron Judge a World Series. And you're probably going to have to trade Spencer Jones because where's he going to play right now?
Yeah, so it's a good point, but also too they I think that they're locked into they're going to have to overpay for Cody Bellinger. If Cody wants 7 years, they may have to give him the 7 just to be able to say, well, if we don't sign Cody, where else are we going to? Where else are we going to go?
You're the goddamn New York Yankee. I hate that I have more faith in the Yankees than Yankee fans do, and like the Yankees themselves. Like, you're the New York goddamn Yankees.
Yeah.
Go sign Cody Bellinger. Don't cry poor to me. Don't cry anything. Like, go sign Cody Bellinger. I'd rather the Mets did it, but like, if you're trying to be objectively, if you're trying to be a better baseball team, you can't tell me that you're a better baseball team
without Cody Bellinger.
Cody Bellinger, even though I will admit the Yankees have potentially one of, if not the best rotation in baseball going. They do. With Cole, if he's healthy.
Yeah.
Fried, Rodon as a 3.
Schmidt.
And Schlittler. Schlittler probably being the 3 more than Rodon.
Yeah.
Rodon will probably be like the 4.
Yep.
But like, you have a potential to have one of the best rotation, if not the best rotation in baseball, and you're just not going to have anybody in the lineup or anybody on the back end. You're just going to rely on a couple of guys getting on base and hopefully Aaron Judge hits one out of the park. Like, that's not.
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah. They have to. They really have to like change their philosophy, because it's just they're top heavy. I listen. I've heard that, you know, what's his name? Second baseman. What's my man name that struggled? What's his name?
What team?
Yankees.
On the Yankees. Second base. Are you talking about? You're talking about Volpe. Right?
Volpe.
Yeah, shortstop. Yeah,
shortstop. Yeah, but Volpe, I heard that he might not start next year.
He can't. He just he can't. They can't just give him the job right at a first.
Yeah, he's got to earn it, man. If they could be able to move on from Volpe, I think that's the best thing for the Yankees to do, because you do have Lombard that's in the minors, right? Like, you do have that kid that's like. It's like he might be the heir apparent to the throne. So if Volpe is just a placeholder, then just rip the Band-Aid off now and see what you can be able to get for him. Because
it's similar to the Senga thing.
Caballero, you have, you know what I mean? Like, you have guys that can be able to fill that position.
It's similar to the Senga thing, though, where you're trading Anthony Volpe at his absolute bottom value.
Correct.
And like, you, again, as much as I don't necessarily believe he's the star that everybody thought he was when he was coming up, he did play hurt last year. Like, didn't he have an rotator cuff injury?
Yeah, rotator cuff problem. Yeah.
So I don't know how I don't know how the dude was playing most of the season with that. That's crazy.
He was getting shot up the entire season. Like,
I don't know how
but it hurt his value. You know what I mean,
how do you handle it like that? Like, how do you not get this kid, especially if you think this kid is a part of your future? How do you not just get that handled?
Right. Why would you let him risk that all season?
So, I don't know if why in their case, they still have a quite a few years of control left on Anthony Volpe. Why trade him at his lowest point when you could, see if you could maybe rehab him a little bit and make him serviceable? I mean, I don't know. We were all how ready. Again, he had a down year last year, but how ready were we to give up on Mark Vientos before 2024? And then we were dying for him to be the everyday third baseman.
Yeah.
This past year, so like, I think you got to give some guys time to develop at the majors. And if Anthony Volpe's been playing hurt for a year, who's to say that he can't get back to some kind of success fully healthy? Yeah, very true. But if he's he can't start though, he cannot start.
That's what I'm saying. If he has to compete for the job and now he's a bench guy, it really is going to hurt his value anyway, because if his confidence gets shot to the point where he can't get that starting role back, then what's his value anyway?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know. I guess I'm more inclined to just like give him a shot to just rebuild his value a little bit, and then if he doesn't, give him up for something. Give him up for the bag of balls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got 1 year left. Well, we don't want him.
There's a wonderful smiling man that's going to be at shortstop for the next 10 more years left on that deal.
We don't want him. Not even as a bench guy. We don't want Volpe. Right? We don't want him.
We got Francisco Lindor.
Jazz maybe. I like Jazz's swag, but we don't want no Volpe.
Yeah.
We don't want no Volpe.
I could get down with Jazz being a Met, but that's not happening.
Yeah. Nah, definitely. They gotta lock him up. I mean, is there anything else that we didn't cover? I think we covered the gamut of everything, man. We did a pretty good job in this pod here.
We did. I am just like thinking this as we've been talking about it. I am getting a little bit more nervous about what the pitching.
Oh, Chef Mama said before he becomes mayor. Listen, there's room on the bandwagon here, baby.
On.
You know what I'm saying?
Blue and orange on everybody. So We got pinstripes here too.
Facts.
So real quick, what's your opinion on the Met pinstripes? Because I've had a few people who are not fans, because it is like, obviously the Mets got the blue from the Dodgers, the orange from the Giants, and then they have said that they do the pinstripes because the Yankees had pinstripes, so they had their own.
Yeah.
So I get into arguments with my brother, my cousin, and a couple other friends that they hate the pinstripes. They would rather just go back to the snow whites, the snow white jerseys.
Yeah.
The pinstripes just look so goddamn good.
Listen, if they're going to be similar to the 80s style pinstripes, then I'm okay with that, right? But they've made too many variations where it just looks a little like so I think that's where your friends are kind of looking at it, that if it looks like that, then cool. Because I love the 80s style jerseys. They just look so good, right? But the ice white jerseys as well, they're good. Like that era of ice white, I'm okay with it too. So I'm either way. Like, I don't really have a favorite. My favorite is the black jerseys. The black jerseys are the best. And I don't like the ones that they rolled out last year. I want the old school ones.
White borders.
White borders, exactly. Those are the best ones to me.
Yeah, the road grays have always been my favorite.
Yeah, road grays
over the top. So real quick before we go, I just want to say, so and you can get as crazy as you want.
Yeah.
What's your ideal off season? Like when we're done and we're getting ready for spring training, what are your ideal moves that you wanted to see the Mets make?
Does it have to be like kind of like down to earth, or is it like crazy?
You do what you feel is best, what your heart desires.
Then I gotta be me. Then I gotta go crazy. Yeah. I'm going Fernando Tatis, because it's realistic. I can see that happening.
Yeah.
Tatis. I can see Framer Valdez. I can see Pete Alonso, Edwin Diaz, Suarez in the bullpen. Right. I can see that happening. And we go get Imai, just because you're not going to be able to, he's not going to cost you that much. You can probably get Imai for anywhere between 125 to 150, right? And that market right there is pretty solid. This is a guy that's been very, very good. So I think that's Diaz, obviously, Pete, Fernando, Tatis, you got Suarez, you have Imai, and yeah, that's it. That would be my my premier off season, where I'm just like, take my money. Trading McNeil, getting him out of there, right?
Yeah.
Like all of those things. If they do all of that, not a peep out of me. Not a peep out of me at all.
I'm with you. I'm totally with you. If that off season happened, I'd be making my plans for a parade. For a parade in Queens or down the Canyon to Heroes.
Listen, and I'm gonna tell y'all now. Thank the people who are in here, man. Appreciate Chef Mamba, appreciate Armand, like everybody who's in there in the comments. There's a Mets pod coming. I'm just letting you guys know. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be really, really cool. So we're gonna be on here. Once spring training gets around, man, it's gonna be something that's a weekly installment. So thank everybody that's in here. Tom, if you got any closing statements, go ahead, my man.
No, I appreciate you having me. I'm really looking forward to doing a Mets podcast. I've been dying to do one for years now, so I'm super excited. Everybody that's watched and commented, I genuinely appreciate you guys. That was really awesome.
Yeah.
And Andrew Tagar, I hope I said that last name right. It doesn't matter. The Mets will Met it up. No. They will not. Listen, this is not the Wilpon Mets. This is
although you might be a hater, listen, thank you for coming in here anyway.
Yeah,
man.
Hell yeah.
We respect it. Chef Mama, my guy, you already know, man. You already know what it is. So until next time, I think we're gonna get in here next week, because I think Silent Assassin said she wanted in. So we'll definitely probably be back here next week. Because what date is the winter meetings again? Is it next week, or is
I think it starts this Sunday.
So there we go. So now it's Sunday, perfect timing for us to be able to get back in here next week and really discuss to see exactly what's going on. Because I do believe that there's going to be a lot of movement, and we might see some moves that we're going to be like, I did not see that coming. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's from the Mets or whether it's from some other teams as well. So, hopefully we get some good news on Diaz and Alonso quickly, so we can be able to focus on the other needs that we have. So we can be able to get those out of the way and really lock into the other position that we need to lock down. So,
absolutely.
Until next week, I am Barry Grant Jr. That's my man, Tom Greer. See y'all later, man.